Hi there, Dr. Susan Spillman here. I wanted to give you an update on my views about psychology and fast track technique. As many of you know, I'm a psychologist by training, a clinical psychologist, and worked for many, many years as a clinical psychologist, primarily in the US, and also primarily as a psychotherapist as opposed to other types of clinical psychology. And more recently, I've moved into energy healing, and that now is becoming known as energy psychology. So, psychology, the traditional psychology, is now integrating a lot of the energy work with it, so that there's a whole new field that now has come about called energy psychology. And so, this integrates both the fields of energy psychology and traditional psychology, as well as many, many practitioners now are doing both, are thinking both ways, both in terms of older issues, what can we help resolve, and how can we help resolve these with energy work. So this is where I am right now. And in terms of how I think, in terms of psychology, I think in terms of patterns, basically. Looking at patterns, what is working, and of course, since we're talking about resolving issues, what isn't working. What patterns are you finding in your life? Like, oh, this is still happening. This is still happening. How come this is still happening? These kind of questions. These kind of questions come up for all of us, whatever is unresolved in our lives. And so I like to look at these and help people explore this. And of course, in a more traditional way, this is done by verbal exchange, by talking about it. Talking about one's history, working on particular approaches, techniques to release those blocks, that kind of thing. And as I've mentioned before, this is often very slow approach. However, some people need this slow approach. They need to tell their stories, especially people who haven't told their stories. Those who've told their stories over and over again, sometimes this is just a way to, of course, avoid changing. But there are many, many people who haven't told their stories. Someone recently just told me a story that she'd never talked to anyone about. And she felt so much relief from doing that. And that's what she needed to do. So we need to be sensitive to that some people need to tell their stories. And a more traditional approach of listening, holding the space for people, is what they need. And then there are other people who either have told their stories many times or just in general are ready to move on. They've told their stories, they've kind of figured out what's happening, and it's like, okay, now how do I move on from there? And for this, fast track technique is perfect. Okay? Fast track technique quickly identifies the issue with the help of the practitioner, of course. The practitioner it works with the client, as in all healing modalities, and helps identify what is the issue using muscle testing. And then there's a particular protocol with fast track technique of asking certain questions, releasing resistance, these kinds of things that get to the issues very, very quickly. And then release those issues and help reprogram yourself. So this works very fast. And of course, like all things, it doesn't always solve everything right away. What it does is, we all have layers. We have layers of things. So we resolve the first issue. Yes, that is fine. We feel better, we feel freer. And then the next layer may pop up. And so we may have to resolve that one as well. So it's often a series of sessions over, several months, sometimes longer, to help resolve the different layers. And it's fast, It's, for me, as a longtime psychologist, it's amazingly how fast track technique works and how successfully that people really notice changes for themselves in their behavior, in their view of life, all of those things. So that's my kind of take on that. Is it really depends, what is the person ready for? Are they ready to move forward, or are they having to talk more about their story and their history and kind of get in touch with what really was painful to them? What do they need to talk about? If anything, some people don't. They're ready to move on. So for me, that's an important issue. And then the next part of Fast Track Technique is Fast Track Technique for Kids. And this is a brand new approach, really developed also by Jas Govan, an English woman who lives in Thailand. And this one focuses more on emotions and releasing emotions and giving the person a choice of how they want to feel. So this is originally developed for children, young children, up to age about 12. However, what we're finding is it works for everyone. It works for young children, it works for older children, it works for adults, it works for inner child work with adults, all of these kinds of things. It's very, very versatile. And so this is a fun approach. It's a game. It's a game that has cards that have graphic images on them. And so for young children, they don't even have to know what the words are, what the images represent, because they respond to the images. And then we release those feelings that are a problem for them, anger, sadness, scared, those kind of feelings. We release those, and then we help them see and give them the choice of how do they want to feel. And this is such a great learning experience for them and for adults as well, to realize that they can choose how they want to feel. And it's great to see kids and adults as well choose how they want to feel and then allow those feelings to come in. So there's a particular approach, of course, technique to doing this. And it's so rewarding to see this happen so quickly with kids and adults. So this is my latest take on psychology and fast track technique. And if you'd like more information, please contact me. I'm happy to chat with you about it and tell you more, refer you to more people and situations. And of course, if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I'd love that. My website is susanspillman.com. That has some information, although I'm reorganizing it, but it still has a lot of information in it about me and what I do, that kind of thing. And what else? I'll put my email down for you to contact me if you'd like, and of course on Facebook. Okay, thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.